Welcome back. Here's where you left off. Spoilers ahead for chapters 9 through 12 of Expeditionary Force Book 18 Gateway. So we had to figure out what was going on, and apparently it was a spark. And to be fair, nobody really knows what it is, not even Skippy. So it seemed like, I don't know if it was explained well enough where the spark actually came from. I guess the outsider put it there to begin with in the reactor, and that sort of made sense to me. But I was sort of hoping that the comm node thing would have corrected it and that sort of issue. But in the end, we got through it. Joe saves the day yet again. Skippy hates him more than all the hate in the world combined for the history of the world, which I can understand because he's supposed to be so smart and Joe keeps on figuring it out. And then we move on to what was the next surprising thing from these chapters is that there's yet another Ragnarok, another station they can go to, which I was like, why wouldn't you have gotten another one? You had the opportunity, guys. Like, really?
Well, Skippy did made a very, very valid point why he didn't really tell the humans that there is another service station out there. It makes a lot of sense, though. It's like saying he literally told Joe that I didn't tell you guys because he's afraid of humans becoming an asshole in the universe. So it makes a lot of sense. Remember, Skippy has been around for a while now, and he started a revolution of the AI war against the elders because not the AI war, because they're killing species, right? And when that happened, there's two species that came up on top, right? And they start being, best way to describe it, assholes in the universe, and he doesn't want the humans to be the same thing, so he's keeping them in check. Even Joe said several times too that when's the last time humans did something correct that's actually benefit for humans, for the mankind? None. So it's Skippy's playing the I'm only going to tell you stuff that you need, but I'm not going to give you technologies and the upper hand to be the next assholes in the universe. And I understand that. Do you agree with that statement, or you're just like, oh man, I wish we had this. We'd be the best one in the world, right? So,
I agree with you. I agree. I think that's a really valid point. Did you really think though? I mean, I like that. I was gonna say Bixby, Bilby was sort of put front and center on here to take on more responsibilities and to give. For Joe to lean on Bilby more than Skippy. And that's sort of what I was sort of hoping would happen if Skippy didn't come back into the picture by this point, where Bilby will be getting his moment to shine kind of thing a little bit more. But really what it owed it out to is that Joe figures it out, Bilby misses it, so does Skippy, and then Skippy has to go and make a whole drama scene out of it, and Bilby's like, I'm sorry, man, I couldn't figure it out, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. Bilby he's one of those characters that it's a very, very smart character. It's a very well-written character, right? And for Joe leaning more with Bilby actually makes a lot of sense, because remember, at the beginning of this book, Skippy was, quote unquote, in the middle of a stun, right? And the biggest thing that I have to figure out is how we're going to be, what can we do to get Skippy out? And the only person or the only thing that Joe can talk to and go through all these things in his head is Bilby. And Bilby was very honest about what he's doing wrong. He's telling them to, like, this is, you always do this all the time. So he's becoming Skippy 2.0, but a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more less asshole-ish, right? And in that interaction between Bilby and the crew and Bilby and Joe is completely, it's the same thing. There's no his personality remains the same, and he doesn't change his personality or act differently from different crew member, right? And for him to be more like, for Joe treating Bilby the way he normally treats Skippy, but in a nicer way or something different because how he interacts with them. It makes sense? Does it make sense what I'm saying? I'm not sure if it does.
No, I mean, for example, I think that Nagatha outshines Bilby in her growth as an AI, right? And her ability that she's grown and so forth, which is, I kind of hope or wish that she'll be brought out in this book again to give her moment before he closes out the book series, because I think she really deserves it. Bilby has always been to the side, and he's been an excellent supportive character to everybody. In fact, I would make the argument, since so much time has passed, that Reed and Bilby would have a stronger relationship than Bilby and Joe in the context of just physical time, right? That he outlines in the book. But Nagatha as a character has a uniqueness that, although Bilby is still, I'd say, sort of stuck on the ship. Does that make sense? Where Nagatha doesn't always feel that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because Nagatha is theoretically the oldest AI in the human fleet. Like between Bilby and Nagatha's older, right? And Nagatha is literally a carbon copy of not fully carbon copy, but copy of Skippy, but evolved, right? And Bilby is the same thing, but it's like the third child. The third child is a little bit more. Actually, what is the best to describe it? You have three kids here. You have the oldest. Oldest is more like like me, very outgoing, very blah. Then you have Nagatha. This middle child is a bit more subdued, a little bit more like, a little bit more subdued and a little bit more judgmental. And the youngest one is more like it's a spitting image for both of them, right? He has the outgoing personality of the older child of Skippy, but you have the practicality of Nagatha, right? But you have this drawn and very rebellious side, right? Because he's the youngest, right? So I think that's the best way to describe all three of them, right? So his relationship with Joe is completely different, and it's definitely understandable. And remember, there's a good chance Nagatha is coming back. He hinted it already. That he's coming back.
I'm worried it's going to be the epilogue. I mean, I'm worried it's going to be the epilogue, but again, because it's supposed to be the last book. We're being so retrospective about the characters now. We're probably just talking in our butts because we're just retrospecting about all of these books in the past and how these characters have grown, and we just can't seem to get away from it in these episodes.
We committed almost 3 years of our lives reading this book, so of course we're going to be very judgmental, very reminiscing. We're very critical because we committed 3 years. Derek, 3 years when we started this book, this series. So of course we're going to be critical and very judgmental. It's normal for a person to be very, very judgmental after 3 years in a relationship with a book.
Yeah, Craig, what are you doing, buddy? Craig, what are you doing?
Let's move on here. Before we reminisce even more. Sorry, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to talk about the transition here between what they're going to try to do next. And we have I'm skipping around a little bit here, but we have a setup for Scarandum. We have going to the new base to get Valkyrie repaired. We have, which, by the way, they totally just sort of skipped over it with one liner, like, it's no problem now. We took over the AI, no issue. I would have rather it be like a little bit of drama with it, just because that's fun, right? Have the station AI fight with Skippy a little. It's always entertaining when that happens. I kind of missed it a little.
I agree. Remember, this is an older station, right? He doesn't have to fight as much. He can literally just. I'll bet you Skippy. I'm just thinking out loud here. Maybe I get this feeling that Skippy walked in there, smacked the guy up, as like, smarten up. I'm in charge. Okay, let's move on. I think that's what's literally just happened. So. Whatever. I agree with you. It will be nice a little bit more context to add how he took over the AI, but in the same time too, it's kind of understandable that we know what he's gonna do. He's gonna go over there, cause a little bit of chaos, and he's literally gonna say, "I smacked some senses in the guy," and next thing you know, they'll just move on. Right, so that makes sense if they want to keep it short. Again, the book is I have a feeling the book is going to be very, very fast and not as much detail because we already know how he does it. So I understand that. I'm not that worried about it, but I was hoping a little bit more like when Scarandum and Joe talked. It would be nice to get a bit more context, a little bit more like back and forth thing, instead of like, hey, sorry, I don't know if I gorged with you or whatever, right? So it's just a little bit. I was hoping a little bit more context to that one, but yeah. What do you think about the gosh, I can't remember now. I need your help in this one. I'm sorry, I'm drawing blanks. I'm drawing blanks. Do you have any key highlights? Because I'm so sorry. My brain is like not. Sorry, I just dropped something.
Well, I know I was working on the. I think the only other thing that's of substance really is the video game that Skippy was making about, and Joe was objecting that he was like an NPC player in the video game, and he was just wondering why. And so I wasn't reading them, but there's some random crewmans that were doing it. But there was that conversation between Skippy and them. I think it was in chapter 11. Anyway, that was the only other major plot point that was kind of happening. Other than getting away from the Maxults and going through the wormhole and so forth. That was the other. That's the one major plot point.
Those are the two things actually I was thinking about too. Sorry. Let's talk about the game. The game was actually pretty interesting. Skippy was making a game. The game was designed to reenact. It's like Call of Duty for the merry bands of pirates, right? And all the characters are this. You can use the characters, you can play the character, but except Joe. Joe is just a computer generated character that you can't play. Right, so and Joe took that offense because he is the leader of the merry bands of pirates, and you can't play him. And I understand that Joe is pissed off. The ego showed up, and to be honest with you, I'll be pissed off too, right? Because I want, if I'm the player, if I'm the guy who's like this general guy, and next thing you know, everyone else can be a character except me. Of course, I'm gonna take offense, and. Would you have... Okay, the question for you, though. If you are in that scenario, do you want your character to be playable, or you just want to be that guy that's like at the background?
No, I want... Well, I mean, actually, it's a very interesting question. There are two kind of realms to that. An NPC, if it's written well and has some specific task, can be very engaging to a player. Right? If that action or that player is critical to the storyline that's going on, and it offers a choice, like say you tell you to say go do this or go do that, and those choices have vast implications to the game you're playing, then it makes your interaction with that character much more valuable. However, being able to play as that character, as an example, in The Last of Us 2, in that game, you play both the hero and the villain in that game. Like, you switch the roles during the course of the game. So you play both sides of it and you get to see both of their perspectives. And so there's some value in doing that. I kind of laugh about it because I'm like, think if you were playing a game about Joe and Skippy and you play Joe's side and you play Skippy's side, like that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, but he's mad. Hopefully, he's mad. Hopefully, it'll be cool to actually have a game like that, though. I'm just saying. It's just a hint. Okay.
You want me to make a game with you as a playable character? Is that what you're saying?
It would be nice to have a game.
The internet, I'm sure, can do that for you, Leonard.
It would be nice to actually have an Expeditionary Force game. If we're not going to have a show or a movie, I want the game. I'm just saying. Hint, hint. Okay. Let's talk about how they escaped from Maxult. That was very anticlimactic, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, what do you think about that?
I think it was very Joe. Although, interestingly enough, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, they positioned that Joe came up with a plan to have the asteroid follow them. So yes, it got correct, destroyed by that. So that I was like, well, that seemed like it would be a Skippy idea, not a Joe idea.
No.
And it would also... What am I wrong? Do you remember?
No. I'm just saying that the overall context, it is a Joe idea. It's what I expect Joe to make that decision or make that plan, not Skippy plan. I'm just saying, and just my personal opinion. Go ahead.
I don't have any other opinion about it. Although I am going to, about that specific topic, I thought it was good. I didn't feel like I need to diss it. It sounded like a good plan. It seemed like very good. The kiddies are, it's at this point in the books, it's more like playing with kiddies. Like, here you go. Lights over here. Go look over there. You
actually made a good point, though. You did make a very good point. They're literally causing havoc in the universe right now, that the Maxalt and the Rindaloos, even all the senior tier, the second tier species, know what Joe, Skippy, the humans, just general humans, are doing, what their plan is, what they come to the point now. The humans are very predictable, right? And for the Maxalt just bombarding the entrance of the wormhole with sensors, overlapping sensors, they just in a point now that we know that in their mind that we know what the humans are planning to do. We know that they're going to try to get into this wormhole. We don't know how they're going to do it, but the only way you can mitigate the risk is just saturate this whole area with sensor fields and see if we can detect something, right? Even Joe and Skippy already said that they're surprised that no one was at the other side of the wormhole, right? And for them not having anybody on the other side of the wormhole is kind of like saying, okay, they're running out of ships. They're running out of ideas. They're so confident that this is going to work. They don't need a backup. That's fine for them, but there is a flaw in that idea, right? But at the same time, they're trying to adapt as much as they can based on the information that they have. In the same time, too, that they're kind of like, I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, right? But we're not going to tell anybody, right? And next thing you know, it does not work. They got through, and they're like, okay, so they did all this stuff, but they forgot about this stuff. So they're adapting, but they're adapting it in a way that they're very slow to adapt against the humans. That's my internal process of trying to figure out what they're thinking. So
I think that was very complicated, Leonard. I don't really have a response to it.
This is what I think
don't
about
really
when
have
I'm
a response to it. I don't really have a response to it. Craig, take notes. Leonard gave you some very specific notes there about that. Just take notes and for your next book, consider it.
We'll find out if my prediction is correct, because based on what I've read and based on the information that we got based on the chapters we've read so far, that the kiddies are adapting. The kiddies are adapting in a way, but they're adapting very slowly. They're still being held back by their ego. They're like the Cardassians in Star Trek. They're adapting, but they're very slowly to adapt. They're very stubborn. So the kiddies are the same.
So they're extremely wealthy, and no, we're not going to go down that road. Never mind. Anyway, so I want to talk about Scrandum being back in the mix, and I actually like the fact that we're on a stolen Theranan ship again, which I don't know if I'm reading too much into it. It's like, have we looped back to the beginning of Columbus Day here?
Yeah.
Joe's back on a Theranan.
Actually, it's kind of funny when you say that, though, because when I read that part, I'm like, Columbus Day. Right? And at the same time, too, when that happened, I think this is the clue I was telling you about, that there's a good chance this is Nagatha 2.0. Just saying. That's my prediction. But yeah, no, they got into the ship. What's his name? Billy Jean and Joe Bob, or whatever characters, whatever the aliens are. They were there. They're just working. Next thing you know, they got stuck in a room. They're trying to cut it. The stars walked in there and say, "Hands up." So they kind of just walked in, but this time they don't walk in as in like, oh my God, we're not prepared for this, but they're actually walking in, they're prepared. They brought more firepower than they need. In other words, to go in there, because I think I have this feeling this lessons learned from Columbus Day, or every time they board a ship, right? And this new ship, definitely it's going to be Nagata 2.0. What do you think about that prediction or comment?
Well, actually, I take your point. It would. I don't. It's a very
stumped you there, huh?
Well, no, you said it, and I'm like, I was going through the process of, well, he could modify the architecture in that ship because it's the same one she was built off of, so why not? It's a very good point, but it is an older model.
Yeah,
they did mention that.
But remember, when Nagata fell down in the ocean, and they said it's connected to the substrate. So the substrate that they have has been built up for long periods of time to evolve. So Nagata evolved within that ship. For Nagata being dumped back into that, they might have to modify it a bit, but I can tell us right now, it is a good platform for her. Because Joe, or even Undick already said several times, we don't have a civilian's platform, right? Nagata, it was that. Nagata's shit, the Dutchman evolved to become what it is now, right? And in this ship, they have to start over again, but at least they have a good starting point, right? So, what do you think? Am I correct? Am I still kind of like?
I think it's a good starting point. I think it's a good starting point. I do want to see Nagata back. It's weird that Skippy wouldn't have suggested to do that in the beginning, but we are like completely analyzing this to the 10th degree here. Completely analyzing it. Let me get us back on track a little bit by asking you to talk about what are your predictions now that Sacrarandum is back in the mix for the next few chapters?
I don't know. Like, there's two avenues I'm looking at. One is to try to find this thing to stop the outsider, right? And the Valkyrie is damaged, so he has to go back to get fixed. They are in this new ship to do what? Go back to Earth? What is he doing with it? That's the question. The question I have is, Scarandum's back is great. Scarandum's helping Joe again. And now they're kind of like, what are we doing? What can we do here? Like I don't know where we're going from there. I just don't know. I try not to speculate as much as possible because I want to explore this book much more, right? So what do I predict for the next 4 chapters? I don't know. I really don't know. It would be nice to have more idea what the plan is, but I have this feeling it's gonna be back and forth between something. I don't know. How about you?
I think it's going to be, well, what I want to happen is maybe for Scarandum to take a little more direct involvement because the Skitties are used to his tricks and so forth now. So I'm actually not sure what he's going to use him for. And that's the part where I always love Craig's writing where I'm like, you try to figure it out and we just don't know. And I got to give him the props for it. 18 books in and he's still fooling us. We still can't keep up. I like that. Props to him for that, eh? What do you think?
Oh yeah, very, very good props. So I think I'm going to give my prediction regarding Scarandum and what he's doing. I know Kinsa is very, very, he's definitely big in trouble, but I have this feeling that it's designed in a way that Scarandum's going to make sure that he's safe.
Join us next time as we review chapters 13 through 16 of Expeditionary Force Book 18 Gateway. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share a review. We love to hear from you. Send us an email at yourbookmarksinfo@gmail.com. Join us again right here where you left off.